Show of hands and be honest. Who of you is tired and a little exhausted of all the talks that we heard today? Let's be honest. I can tell you I'm exhausted. But to be honest, I have been exhausted all my life. I can't remember the last time I have not been tired. And I'm not talking about that kind of exhaustion that you have after a long day at the office or a good workout session. I think mainly the Black people and the people of color in the audience will know what kind of exhaustion I mean. It's a kind of exhaustion that stems from a certain pain. And if you don't know what I mean, don't worry, I'll guide you through. Because you see, as a Black person, a person of color living in a dominantly white society, you're constantly having these borderline experiences between the home you come from and the world you step out to. The gap between those spaces often holds many variations of rejection. And this constant rejection leads to that pain. And even though it's very subtle and very little, you might think you cannot live it, but you can't because it's so much bigger than most of us. And this is why it's so important for us to keep repeating that racism is so much more than the words people say or the actions they perform. It's actually much weirder. It's this sick, twisted, multidimensional structure that has infiltrated all systems of our modern global society. And I get that it's hard to understand sometimes and to really grasp what it feels like when you're not Black or a person of color. Because you see, as a white person, you very often have the chance to decide how far you want to interact in conversations about race and how much you want to interact with the experiences. I, as a Black person, never had that opportunity. I was forcefully pushed into these situations from a brutally young age, so young even that I wasn't even able to put the world around me into words. This is what we refer to as embodied inequality. And it's the reason why so many Black people and people of color are of higher risk to experience mental health issues. So what we need now, more than ever, and I'm sure of it, is healing. And that's what I'll be talking about, healing, especially collective healing. And we have tried to find so many different ways to cope with that pain. For example, we started to create safer spaces. The daily interaction with violent experiences create the longing for a space that's free of that violence. And finally, you're with people who understand you because they're going through the same things as you, and you don't have to translate yourself. These safe spaces are a direct response to the oppression experiences in white spaces. But the theory of intersectionality teaches us that we all can experience discrimination in more than one way. So obviously, we'll need healing in more than one way. No space will ever be truly safe. Safer maybe, but not safe. No community is a monolith, and our identities are way too complex to be grasped in their entirety. So yes, marginalized communities need spaces for themselves, but they need to understand that while one part of their identity might fight healing, another one might be suppressed in the process. But that's okay, because we still got psychotherapy. But we know that those resources are scarce. Time, money, energy. Many of us come from a background where it's not normal to share your inner deepest emotions with a close friend or relative, let alone a complete stranger that you then even have to pay. And it also doesn't help that many psychotherapists are just as complicit in these dominant societies that we are trying to escape from. And Lord knows they do their best. Honestly, I believe it. But their best has often not been decolonized from the mindset that put us into these positions to begin with. So many mental health professionals simply lack expertise in questions regarding the effects of colonization, migration, discrimination. What does it feel like to be a refugee? And after all, isn't it brutally negligent that we take all the burden in the world, put it on one person, and then tell them to solve these global systemic issues in one-on-one sessions, 60 minutes a day, once a week? That's not normal, especially if you think that this pain goes so much deeper and it's so much older than we are. The hip theory suggests that all these experiences, all the traumas that our ancestors went through, including the racialized experiences, were passed on over generations and now are into us and shape the way we perceive the world and react to it. So out of context, our mental health issues might feel like they can be led back to the experiences that we made in our personal lives. But if we align them with the experiences that our ancestors made, they all make sense in a completely new way. And it has to affect the way we approach processes of healing. So, what's left to do? It's a little complicated. I'm honestly telling you, I am not a pessimist. I believe that healing is possible and transformation needs to happen. And therefore, we need this. We need safe spaces in our communities. We need to go to therapy, and we need to go through our ancestry line. It's hard, it's tough, it takes energy, but it's worth it. But to achieve true healing and to honestly go through that process, we need to look at it more holistically. We need to think about the people around us in that very moment, the people that came before us, and also the people that come after us. And that's how we might find healing. Thank you.